Okay. We may be back here. Let's see how long this lasts. It looks like it's a power issue with my camera actually for some reason. All right, before it dies again, let's go ahead and get started. We have quite a few. Hopefully, it doesn't quit. All right. So the topic of this Q&A, which is now 10 minutes late. Sorry about that. And thank you guys for sticking around. Ships and GAC. There's essentially two topics that I want to cover. I keep nervously looking at the little blue light around my camera to make sure it's working. Two things I want to talk about. One is a few points in ship combat, especially points that oftentimes people fail at, or that I've seen people fail at, and one that I failed at recently in my own GAC. And then looking at some uncommon counters that normally you won't see in Arena, although you can practice them in Arena because they're all Negotiator counters. They're great in GAC. And yeah, and just talk through them. And if anybody has questions, of course, pipe up anytime. I'm happy to take a break and not take a break, just like a random, some topics to talk about as we go through ships here. So a lot of people don't like ships because of RNG, and this is especially common in mirrors. As I said during the last Q&A, and I will say many times, mirrors suck. Don't do them, okay? I cannot be more clear. Mirrors are terrible. And only if you're faster should you do a mirror, and even then... Hey, well, go ahead and Sith Duke. I will touch on Raddus versus Malevolence. I can, free, that's no problem. I'll do that at the end. Yeah, what's the question, Sith Duke? Is Simon Duke and Sith Duke the same person? Anyway, I'll wait for the question to come in here and answer it then. So you have to make sure you know how the fights are going to go and what your win condition is. I mean, obviously, versus Negotiator, it's pretty easy. You have to kill ETA2, and all the other ones, it's pretty simple as well. Let's go talk through them one at a time. What are the speed breakpoints? What do you look for when you're about to go into a fight? So let's talk about Home One versus Home One. Twin brothers. Twin brothers? You're not by any chance Heathen Boma Fett, are you? Or you're just two guys logged in with different accounts. Who knows? Anyway, Home One versus Home One. This is specifically for matchups with Bistan. Without Bistan, it's much different. You have to look at your own Hans Millennium Falcon. But with matchups with Bistan, compare Bistan's speeds. If yours is slower, don't mirror. That's basically it. Because the way that the fight goes, whoever's Bistan moves first will use their go into stealth and do a target lock move and give 15% turn meter to some other rebel ally. It could be Home One, it could be Biggs, it could be Hans Millennium Falcon. But one way or another, in the vast majority of cases, that will guarantee you the win. Because when you have Biggs as well, and usually when you're in offense, I would highly, highly, highly recommend Biggs in the mirrors. So Bistan will give you a taunt. So even if the other team goes before you kill one of their characters, you need to make sure that Biggs is there so that he will take a couple of hits and could even die. That's fine, but it's unlikely. Depends on gear levels. So that's basically it with Home One versus Home One. I think this is pretty common. Everybody knows it. Compare your Bistan speeds. If yours is faster, you win. If yours is slower, you don't mirror. Okay, so Sith Duke is building a Negotiator fleet. This is Simon. Sith Duke is building a Negotiator fleet. He's required to build a fully functional Houndstooth just to get through the fleet campaign nodes. Yeah. Is he required to build a fully functional houndstooth to the fleet campaign notes? You know what? That's a great question. I don't know. I would check out Darth Loquitar. Hey, Fortmort. Hey, Darius. Yeah, check out Darth Loquitar on YouTube. He is about that range, GP range, where he's working a lot on the houndstooth, and he has a great perspective on that sort of stuff. I honestly don't know. It's been a long time since my houndstooth wasn't maxed. Certainly it helps, but if I'm thinking how I did the fleet campaign nodes, I believe at the time I had G12 Phoenix, and I just used Rebels. I didn't ever use houndstooth. Was that an optimal way? Probably not. I don't know if the G12 Phoenix was a great investment at the time, but it's definitely possible without a beefed up houndstooth, although houndstooth makes it way easier. And Simon, can you explain 5's unique to me? Us. I legit don't get why it's a good thing to give enemy ships turn meter. Well, that's a great question. It's very situational. Think of it as a way to remove their status effects. For instance, if you're able to target ETA2, the enemy ETA2, and give him turn meter so he gets rid of unending loyalty sooner, that's very helpful. Although usually if you're targeting him, he's about to die anyway. Another way is for targeting like a taunter, enemy tank, to get rid of their taunt sooner rather than later, like targeting Bosk, for instance, because in a normal rotation, Bosk will always have one turn without taunt, assuming fracture, or not fracture, but I forget the name of his debuff that he uses. If it's not active on somebody, he has one turn where he won't have taunt. So you can like speed up that turn if in some situations where it helps you to get his taunt out of the way so you can target the other enemies. Let's go to the next one here. So for Home One versus Bistan, Home One versus Home One, I already said don't do mirrors. They suck. If your Bistan is faster, you can do mirrors. Finalizer versus Home One. Now this is one actually where I have some personal experience where I didn't do my homework. Oops, I got screwed. So if we look here on swgas.gg and we go to Bistan, so Bistan's speed here is 163. And he gets a bonus 25% speed, I think, right? Yeah, 25% speed. So that's 25 and 2/3. So that's, well, let's just call 163. That's 0.25. So he gets 40 speed in addition to his 163. So it takes him to 193. So a max Bistan is 193. Now it's very, very rare to find a max Bistan, but still sometimes when you're using Finalizer versus Home One, which is a common and very good counter, you'll run into them. So the issue is your goal is to kill Han's Millennium Falcon before anybody else on the Home One fleet takes a turn. So it's usually silencer and silencer speed. So let's see, Bistan max speed 193, right? Silencer, he's almost always going to be faster than this. It's 207. And usually he's very close to that because your Kylo Ren and Masked is rank 7 or Relic 7 or Relic 8, I guess. So silencer, no problem. Then you have First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. And this dude's speed, First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, his speed is 206. No problem to go first, right? Easy peasy. And then you have Kylo Ren's command shuttle, amazing ship, and his speed is 148. Kylo Ren command shuttle 148. But wait, that doesn't make sense. He usually goes first. Yes, he does. So he has this little thingy right here, Zeal of the First Order, where assuming you have it maxed, because that's where you get the +10 speed, he has +40 speed. So that takes him to 188. Now, here is where you have a problem. If you run the typical starting lineup against the Home One team, which is the Finalizer with Silencer, Special Forces tie, and Kylo Ren's command shuttle, you have a problem if the Bistan is faster than, and it's around Relic 5 with 6E mods for both of for Bistan's ship, where he starts to become faster, Relic 4, Relic 5. So, normally the turn order is Finalizer will go, then you have Silencer go, then you have First Order Special Forces go, and we'll call Silencer for an assist, and Home One will almost be dead. And usually Kylo Ren's command shuttle will use his little switcheroo thing and give 100% turn meter to Silencer, and he'll take a last hit and kill on Millennium Falcon. However, if the Bistan is around Relic 4, Relic 5, you have to do the math. You have to do 25.25% times whatever Bistan's displayed speed is. If he is faster than your Kylo Ren's command shuttle, Bistan will go first and will use his, I forget what the name of the move is. It's essentially he grants 15% TM to somebody, and if Biggs is in the lineup, Biggs is going to taunt. And you're going to get, most likely, you're going to get screwed. So, for this one, make sure Kylo Ren's command shuttle is faster than Bistan. Especially when Biggs is in the lineup. Now, you have alternative to bring in the First Order TIE Fighter instead of Kylo Ren's command shuttle. The First Order TIE Fighter here is also super fast, 208. He'll go even before the TIE Silencer, and he gives everybody turn meter, so you're guaranteed to go faster. All allies get 50% turn meter, because Finalizer will activate the, spending too much time on this, he'll activate the uniques. So you can do double hit here, and this is better if Bistan and Biggs are there. So, moving on, let's go to Empire versus Negotiator. Depending on what fleet charge you're in and what GP you're in and everything, you may have seen this a lot, or you may have heard of this a lot, but never successfully done it. It's not actually that difficult. The goal is to get ETA2 into lower than like 25% health. So Negotiator's first move will be Unending Loyalty instead of the AoE attack move or the mass attack move. That's the critical part. Now ETA2, let's go over here. He's not actually that fast. I mean, he's fast, but he's not super fast. So this is the maxed one, 191. So not that fast. Now let's look at the Empire ships and see the speeds of the Empire ships. So generally, if you're using Empire, the TIE Advanced is pretty fast, and most people have a, so there you go. ETA2 is 197, right? That's what I said? TX1 is 194. 193, actually, I think ETA2 was. I'm searching for Empire. Just a moment. ETA2. Great question about 6 dot versus 5 dot mods. GG slow. Yeah, free is correct. 6E mods do influence the stats. 6E-D-C-B-A, none of that makes a difference. If it's either a 6-dot mod or a 5-dot mod, that does make a difference. So ETA2 is 191 actually. So if you go back and look at other Empire ships that are faster, they don't have to be Empire necessarily, but Empire makes it easier. The easy and best one is the Imperial TIE Fighter. I'm abbreviating all of these, is 210. So, definitely worth slicing on pilots. Especially if you use the pilot. I mean, obviously that's, for Empire ships, a lot of the pilots are quite good. So, if you have two characters that are faster than the Negotiator, and I'll show you one of these fights here in a moment as well. You can make sure that ETA2 will get lower than 25% health and trigger Negotiator to use Unending Loyalty. And the easy one is TIE Advanced 1, Darth Vader ship, which is an awesome ship. Imperial TIE Bomber, because you want him to taunt, and he's an amazing ship also. And then you can even use, I did the math before, but I don't have a copy of it. You can even use G12 pilots for the Imperial TIE Fighter, the TIE Fighter pilot. He can be G12. I don't know how many pieces of gear he needs, but he doesn't have to be G13 is what I'm saying. And you can make him faster than 191. And the best part about him at in the match as well is if for some reason, well, the next time, sorry, I'm backing up. When Anakin, if he doesn't get ability block, if he uses his AoE move, he will trigger the Foresight from Imperial TIE Fighter, and you're having an Empire capital ship, and it's going to go next, guaranteed. So it gives you a speed boost as well in the beginning of the fight. It'll go before Negotiator. So it's a fantastic matchup. This is definitely the three that I would recommend using when you're countering him in GAC, or when you're trying it out in Arena. So let's take a look at some uncommon counters. This one, oh, that's a fun one that I'll just put out. So here's one from Ian. I'll put the link here if you want to follow along yourself. It can be hard to watch in my little screen. I'm not going to make it bigger. This is Home One versus Negotiator. This is like the least uncommon, I would say. And the whole point here is to, again, get ETA2 below his 25% health. It's the same for all of these fights. They're all versus Negotiator. The goal is to get him below the 25%-ish health, and then trigger Unending Loyalty, then get him out of Unending Loyalty, and then kill him. Ian has an interesting lineup here where he doesn't have Ghost, which makes it easier in some setups. But let's see how it goes. So he goes after him. Yep, keeps going. Unending Loyalty is triggered. Now heal, this is an important part. You always have to heal Biggs so he doesn't have heal immunity or buff immunity on him. You don't want to counterattack. I'm going to fast forward a few times. AoE comes down. You can get unlucky and have Bistan targeted a few times. If your Bistan is not at least G12, he may actually die. So for this counter, you need Bistan to be G12. You definitely need it if you're facing a maxed Negotiator. So here we go again. Probably going to be the worst possible reinforcement. Oh, 5s would be sort of bad, actually. It might kill Bistan. But generally, having Plo come in is best in GAC and not great for this counter. Don't use a little spinny thing because eventually... There we go. So in this situation, personally, I like running Phantom and Ghost and Cassian. I don't go so undermanned like Ian does. Not as many balls, I guess. But he has in the Rebel Y-Wing. He targeted ETA2, and now you see ETA2 has lost his Unending Loyalty, so it's just about getting him out of stealth, get somebody below 100% health, and his bonus skill will trigger, he'll take a turn. And there he goes out of stealth. And he's dead. So friendly RNG on this one. You're still going to lose bigs, not uncommon. Again, I'm not such a huge fan of this setup compared to having Ghost in there, Ghost and Phantom, just because it allows you to recover more quickly afterwards. But you can watch the rest of the fight if you want. It's a win. It's pretty good. The opening move is the important part. So Home One versus Negotiator. All about the opening move. Have to make sure ETA 2 gets an ending loyalty. All right, let's go on to some other ones. So here we're going to see a couple of fights with Empire versus Negotiator. The same thing I was talking about before by triggering unending loyalty with TIE Fighter. So let's check out this one first. So this one, Tarkin is R4, Vader is R7, Palp is R7, Royal Guard is R4. They're in the Emperor's Shuttle. TFPs, yeah, just G12, and Gar and Imperial Super Commando, Special Commando, I forgot his name, are G12, and TIE Bombers, 7 stars. All the abilities are maxed. You can find a lot of these on YouTube if you want. So here the fight starts. Vader goes first. Remember, this is an R7 Anakin and an R7 Vader. So Vader goes first. Boop. Now, here we go, Imperial TIE Fighter using his special. It has target lock. Very convenient. And he gets Foresight, and then Foresight is triggered by Anakin's AoE. And then, oh, Negotiator doesn't go first. It's Tarkin. Fantastic. Now, if you're lucky, you'll get an ability block on Anakin. If you're not lucky, you won't. Whatever. Doesn't really make that big of a difference in the fight. Now we go the TIE Bombers Dispel, and you have buff immunity on Anakin, which makes this awesome. And going after the bomber, just trying to land some more target locks. Here comes in Plo, which is like the best way to have it set up. But you know, target lock doesn't come off because Vader is on the field. And now we bring in the reinforcement. It's going to be Emperor's Shuttle, I believe. Such a great ship. Now the Dispel and Cleanse. Yeah, you can get rid of the taunt all you want there, little dude. The BTL bomber, but it's not going to make a difference. Okay, there goes Anakin again. Almost killed Imperial TIE Fighter. Doesn't really make a difference. Now Vader comes, he can remove any buffs from anybody. There's no Houndstooth here, but Houndstooth does not make it significantly harder. And there goes ETA 2. Again, I'm fast forwarding, blah, blah, blah. Some stuff happens, and it's an easy win. There's never any question that you're going to win this fight. You had it on airplane mode anyway. So again, the key here is having 2 ships that are faster than ETA 2. The Imperial TIE Fighter is easy, and this dude... Bobero. I'll put the link in chat. This dude Bobero has just G12 TIE Fighter pilot. So easy fight. Let's go to the next one. Put this link in chat as well for you guys, or anybody who watches it afterwards. So again, he's looking at, this is an R7. It's basically a maxed fleet. And he is definitely not maxed. He has a 6-star Gauntlet Starfighter, a 6-star Emperor Shuttle, and even a 6-star Imperial TIE Bomber, and a G12, a G12 Tarkin, G12 6-star Tarkin. Didn't even notice that. Doesn't really make that big of a difference. This is a little more cheesy, and I wouldn't be as comfortable versus the Houndstooth lineups, but it's still, you'll see how it works. As long as I'll move around. It maybe did lose focus. It's probably, it's definitely not your Wi-Fi, Simon. If you notice the little note, it's probably because I'm loading a YouTube video. My data connection here for another 2.5 weeks. My data connection is shite. I'm using a mobile connection. Then I'll go back to good data, but it's very poor now. Sorry about that. I'll close out the previous windows. Anyway, this one is essentially the same lineup. It has 5s, or Umbaran Starfighter, instead of Rex, but it doesn't really change. Have TIE Advanced go first, then you have the Imperial TIE Fighter go, gets him below, and you got buff immunity, and then the AoE happened. No worries, Simon. The AoE happened from ETA2, which triggered the Foresight, which gave Tarkin another turn. It's really, really easy. I mean, and here we got ability to block too, which is nice. This fight's a little bit rougher because it's only a 6-star Imperial TIE Bomber, and Tarkin is only 6-star as well, not fully 7-starred. But it doesn't really change the fight so much. And you see the wonderfulness of Vader's second move. When a target has ability target lock, he can use a second move to remove their buffs and turn meter. And here, he didn't have Plo come in, so the ability block wasn't cleansed, although it wouldn't have really made a difference because the BTL already uses taunt. But here it's a little more tricky because Sunfac came in, so if he brings in a character that has a buff, which is either one of those, frankly, he has to target Sunfac. So it makes it a little more complicated, but it's good to see this example. But because he had a dot on him, triggered damage Sunfac and triggered him his bonus turn, and he died from the dot. It's really, it's not that complicated of a counter. So, same story as above, even with G12, Tarkin, and 6-star TIE Bomber. I would not recommend this counter if you can avoid it. Depending on the reinforcements, you may have a difficult time putting out the amount of damage you need. Vader, being 7-star, is critical and you're safe with his damage, but with your tank being only 6-star, he's a bit more flimsy, so be cautious with that one. But you can see it's very doable. For this one, the gear level on Gar Saxon, we saw it at the beginning of the video. His Gar Saxon is G12. Maybe not even G12. I think he takes a look. Yeah, it's not even G12 is what, G8, 4-star, some crap like that. I mean, it's ridiculous. For the reinforcements, when he's not in starting, it doesn't really matter. So, yeah, it's really all about Vader and Imperial TIE Fighter going before ETA2. And you should really have a 7-star TIE Bomber if you can do it. And test it out in Arena. It's best to see it in Arena. So, let's check out this awesome fight from End All Be All that he just posted today. I had never seen this before watching it here. So it's pretty cool. It's a Raddus fleet with Poe's X-Wing, Houndstooth, and our favorite First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. You can use other ships besides First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter, but again, the same principle applies. You want to be faster than ETA2. So you can search through your ships and choose what you want, but this is a good one to use because generally, if you're using Raddus against Negotiator, you should have a better option to use against Home One. You can also use Finalizer against Empire, but anyway, this is a good option. So then he has Rey's Millennium Falcon, Resistance X-Wing, Xanadu Blood, and Ebon Hawk as reinforcements. So here we go, beginning of the fight. Check out his video, by the way. It's awesome. And he explains it far better than me. I'm just going to go over the highlights. It doesn't have a 100% success rate. Hey, Vin. Cool to see you here. Vin's my payout buddy in our wonderful Fleet Arena. Oh, so lovely. Anyway, this has like 80% success rate, and all it explains. But the goal is the same. Poe is faster, so he'll do a big hit. And then you'll have First Order call Poe to assist and get him below Unfortunately here, he lands buff immunity on Houndstooth, so he can't taunt, which will probably lead to somebody dying. So that's like bad RNG in his favor. I think Endall forgets later on in the fight. He says it didn't. Oh, who are you? B-Coop. I don't recognize your name from Discord, or should he? Oh, okay. Man, it's terrible that I don't recognize my payout. Who comes behind me in payout? I'm asleep by that time. Let me go back to, oh, Calyx. Ah, cool. Hey, glad you showed up. Anyway, I'm going to be trying climbing with this fleet here. Endall does a great job of explaining. I'm not trying to steal his thunder here. Essentially, blah, blah, blah. It goes and it goes. The key is getting Ray's Millennium Falcon in and using the AoE to kill ETA2. So here we have the AoE just to work down ETA2 a little bit. Another tank that's actually pretty annoying. There's better ones that could, well, easier ones. If 5s came in or something like that, that would be a bit more simple. And the key also is to be able to get Raddus's unique off, or unique, what am I talking about? The Raddus, the Holdo maneuver, so that she can, at least if you fail, because again, it's about 20% success or failure rate, at least if you fail, there's no capital ship to worry about. That's the end goal there. So here I think he loses Houndstooth. Gonna skip ahead a little bit. So he paused, blah, blah, blah. No, not blah, blah, blah. He does a lot of talking. Okay, I think now, yeah, ETA2 is out of his, unfortunately, Flo came in. ETA2 is out of his unending loyalty. And this is the tricky part of the fight. Depending on his health and protection levels, depending on how many crits he got earlier on in the fight, it could be more or less difficult. That's why Ebon Hawk and Xanadu Blood are in the lineup, because both of them have, well, Xanadu Blood has an AoE, Ebon Hawk has a Dispel. So here we go, going for the AoE. Come on, Endall. And you can see it doesn't quite kill Anakin, and now it becomes a little bit more tricky. So I'm fast forwarding ahead again. Man, this is a nervous fight. But the AoE, I think we're going to lose Rey. No, we're able to take her out. Okay, so here it gets messy, but after this it goes into Holdo doing her maneuver, and you win with the leftovers. So definitely not a high banner win, but something to keep in your back pocket for GAC, and I'm sure Endall will refine a little bit here. Yeah, there's the Holdo maneuver. Anyway, I'll just let this play. That's the last one of the fights here that I wanted to show. Let me type it out to let go before ETA2. See a theme? It's pose X-Wing and First Order Special Forces TIE Fighter. So that's basically it. To rehash it, go check out the videos too. It's a great video. I'll explain it much better than myself. To rehash this whole half an hour, because we're sort of at the end of our half an hour after my technical challenges, you don't want any RNG in GAC. Exterminate the GAC RNG. Mirrors suck. Don't do them unless your Bistan is faster. Just period. Make sure you know how the fights are going to go. And keep in mind the few speed breakpoints. This is the mirror that the only one you should ever do. And even then, only if your Bistan is faster. For Finalizer versus H1, when you are against some fleets that have a Relic 4 or 5 Bistan, do the math and make sure that Bistan is still slower than Kylo Ren's command shuttle, or you'll want to change your lineup. Especially if Biggs is there. Even if Biggs is not there and Biggs doesn't taunt and stop the command shield from going, you could give turn meter to Holland's Millennium Falcon, and he could do his wiggle, and then you're not going to be able to take him down. I personally had this happen in a recent GAC, and I was a little surprised and embarrassed that I didn't do the math myself. Empire versus Negotiator. This is a very easy counter. Not amazing banners, but it's an easy counter. Awesome in GAC. Home One versus Negotiator is definitely not as uncommon, but it's another pretty easy one with some RNG. More RNG, I think, than the Empire setup. And then this amazing Raddus versus Negotiator. Really cool, which I hadn't seen before, and I am definitely going to be trying. Before I end, again, thank you all for showing up. Appreciate it, even through my technical difficulties. Nice to see folks from the Fleet Shard in here, and free as always. And the Duke brothers. Cool, you're actually twin brothers. Pretty neat. Anyway, thank you guys very much for showing up. Appreciate the questions and the discussion. And I'll be here next week. Even though it's the end of GAC, we can do a little, well, I'll find some topic to chat about. And yeah, feel free to stop by Discord if you want, Simon. Discord links will be, it's grandarenascience.com. Anyway, very happy to answer any questions there about Fleet or anything else. Or to tell you some place you can find people smarter than me, because there's lots of them. All right, cheers, guys. Thank you very much for showing up. Cheers.